been a while. We are here with the Health Unplugged show. Unplugged Health show.
Unplugged Health
Live.
Series.
Back with Roger, and I'm here as Ollie.
Yeah, we've had a bit of time out and been exploring some different things. So it's been it's great to get back. Ollie's been jetting around. You might have been following him. He's been working on his tan. No, he's been working really hard. Just come back from the US, had a good time there, touching base with clients, doing some presenting, going back in the early part of next year. So he's a busy boy. So it's good to catch up.
It's cool to actually be able to say, even though I've spoken Colombian, I've spoken internationally before, actually on my Instagram profile saying international speaker.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Adding another niche to the ever expanding CV.
Yeah,
can't keep up with you, mate.
Crazy as an introvert.
Yeah,
going to events and speaking, but yeah, it's always awesome. And why we do the podcast, that it's good to get this information out there to speak on topics that we're pretty passionate about. And a lot of the times we think these things are common sense because to us they are. But then to a builder, building a house is common sense. But I wouldn't know where to start. And
also the idea of the podcast was always to be a bit unplugged and kind of really record our ramblings, which always happen where we'd catch up. So I think feedback from a couple of our clients, and that is that how it comes across. So that's great. And so with all the dashing around and a busy summer, our indirect kind of topic was to actually slow down.
Yeah, it's something which came up a lot in my talk. I work with a lot of high achieving entrepreneurs, and I've been doing some functional testing on them, and a lot of issues with cortisol coming along.
Yeah.
Not just high cortisol, but then going past that to lower cortisol, where we look at hypothalamus pituitary axis dysfunction, or what people call and see as burning out. And it's kind of worrying how many people are going through this. And then as a result, the implication on their hormones.
Yeah.
As a result, the implication on their gut, on their sleep, and all these different things. But when people want to start something, and no doubt you've seen it as well, where people will come, they'll have an adjustment. I want to go back and do everything again, like at full speed. And one of the ways I say to people is that one of my old mentors, Adam Abansky, said this about the train leaving the station. It doesn't start off at the speed that it goes all the time. It has to slowly leave the station, and then it speeds up. Then at times, to get to your destination, we do have to slow down at times for different stations and so on.
And likewise, actually coming into the destination is also a slowing down.
Exactly.
So you go smash.
Exactly.
But the people are, they kind of smashing it, or they're going from one fad to the other of jumping. What can I do now? So yeah, I see that. The cool thing for us with chiropractic is working through the nervous system and seeing the balance of mostly that flight or fright and that rest and recharge. Most of the adjustments are really moving people into rest and recharge. So that's why a lot of people after the adjustment will feel a bit like spacey and a bit zoned out, because it's changing neurology there and then. But I think people being aware of that, and then there's a time and place to be pumped and focused and charged, but there is also needs to be a planned, scheduled time to have that rest and recharge, whether that's training and then a day off. And the element I've come across, I'm sure you have, of that, a day off is kind of like it's a wasted opportunity to train again. But again, in life and in business, I think we've become accustomed, almost like you're having a day off or a day of you resting and relaxing. You're not doing much. It's almost like it comes with a bit of a guilt complex, or I'm not being productive. But I'm sure you've seen it with trying to get high achievers to actually understand, to achieve highly, you need to also rest or recharge.
Oh yeah, especially when we live in a world where protocols like 75 hard, I'm going to do 2 workouts a day, hit a diet for 75 days, no alcohol, all this sort of stuff. It's shown as sexy on social media. And one of the things I say to my clients is that I don't want you to do 100%.
Yeah.
Because 80% will get you ahead without the added stress. And actually in times that when we look at training is periodized anyway. Football season is from like August until May or June, depending on the year and stuff. But then we have a time of recovery, and then we speed up with preseason. And the same with other sports, they have their off season.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people, I've had this with a couple of clients that have previously been athletes and they've just been go, go, go and kept that athlete mentality, which is why they've built their business so well.
Yeah.
But as a result, they then don't keep periodizing their training. And then we train hard, but then it hits our hormone levels.
It's kind of easy to train for a short burst for a certain goal.
Yeah.
But in business and in life, we're ideally in for the long haul. So training for the long haul is a different kettle of fish. And you even have it, don't you, of listening to the words and terminology, kind of like, yeah, I went there and I smashed it and I've got my goals and I'm pumped, and everything is geared to us thinking of productivity and success as us about hitting something or pushing through, or, you know, almost, you must see it within business. I see it with patients. There's almost that in business, and that bravado element of, you know, well, I can survive on, I can perform, I can do right in 4 or 5 hours sleep. And it's like, yeah, you might be able to do it for a short term, but I see it with shift workers. So I don't like the possibilities of what's coming on down the line if you keep up that pace.
And this is where the difference of, like, when people say I can survive on that, well, do you not want to thrive?
Thrive and survive is
different things. But I had a client come to me, yeah, I'm all right on 4 to 5 hours sleep. So why did you pay all the money to sign up to me? And now we've got him on more sleep, and he's just instantly feeling so much better. Yeah. And people look at the things like they think they're okay on the 4 or 5 hours sleep, but why can't they drop weight? Why have they got symptoms of attention deficit issues?
Do you think it's because we're used to using we actually in society using the wrong indicators? Yeah, I can get my work done. I can do this. And that's okay. We can achieve the goals, as I said, but we're not really analyzing the effect on our health. And that's why potentially we know lifestyle issues are the major big cause for all the chronic disease that we have out there. It's our lifestyle when we come up with new little trinkets and things and gadgets, but at the end of the day, that umbrella term of our lifestyle is what we're responsible for our long-term
we're constantly goal. Switched on and plugged in, right? Like the amount of times there was a study I was listening to, there's a book called like Never Lose a Client Again, and in there it talks about the sign-up process. There's this instant when someone makes a high ticket investment or a high price investment, there's this regret straight afterwards, and we give them some like just like backup there and some confidence there. But it said in this book that the best way to do it is through the phone, because 91% of people keep their phone within 3 feet of them most of the time, like pretty much all day long. Even when they go to sleep, that it's charging up by their bed, all still on, like not on airplane mode or anything. And I just thought, wow, like how many times do I always have my phone on me? Even if it's on do not disturb or airplane mode, it's still close by.
Close by, yeah.
And it is crazy to think of that. When I go to sleep, it's charging downstairs, or it's in my office and it's on do not disturb all throughout the weekend now. But even then, I tell clients that I do have it on do not disturb, but chances are I am going to check WhatsApp and
because
I will check social media.
The phone has moved away from a source of being contactable. It's I want to check the football scores. What time is the movie?
It's not a phone anymore.
I mean, check my calendar. What time is the restaurant booked? You know, it's a handheld personal computer.
When people call, you're like, how rude.
Yeah.
What can you text?
Well, at least you get a chance going.
No, exactly. But it is worrying how plugged in we are, how switched on we are. And the instant reaction when people wake up during the night is to say, oh, I can't sleep, so I'm going to go and scroll through the newsfeed.
Yeah.
And before they know it, their brain is just wired up with loads of blue light and their cortisol levels are through the roof. They've looked at the news and that's just triggered something else because of, or like bad news sells, right? We won't go down that rabbit hole. But it just is massively worried. And also, I shared it. There's an interview on Tom Bilyeu's podcast. I can't remember the guy on there, but I shared it, that why is so much ADHD going on nowadays? There's 2 things actually. Why is so much ADHD going on nowadays? Because parents are stressed and it's a learned behavior with kids. But another reel that I shared from Tim Gray, who I hope to have on the other podcast that I do as well. And he's like known for loads of biohacking and things like that. But he mentioned a study that was done on children and talking about their screen addiction. that when we now take their screens away, we're getting the same reactions that heroin addicts
Oh
get
yeah,
just from kids
yeah,
at 2, 3 years
there's
old.
loads of studies just showing the
Scary.
dopamine reaction and the serotonin levels and of being bombarded with the phone.
And I can
Yeah, you're
understand
taken
like
away,
the
and
ease of it, right?
you're talking then into addiction mode, which is quite hard for a lot of parents or kids that go no. But actually, when you start looking around, there is certainly evidence and science and some good research which has been shown to start tackling into the addictive element of the phone.
I can understand it with parents that it's easy to think that I'm doing this work stuff, I'm just going to plug YouTube Kids or whatever it is in there. But when we don't even look at the repercussions, why is ADHD so high? Like we have loads of processed food and food which is meant for addiction.
Yeah.
And like you look through airports and stuff. I was looking through there the other day, and it's just so much rubbish.
When can you remember the time before phones?
Yeah,
Because you're a bit younger than me, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
I remember getting my first PC.
Yeah. So I grew up with the element of parents were fearful that putting a kid in front of TV was going to be the detriment of all society.
I bet.
That's like minimal now compared to, well, the kids don't even sit in front of TV because they're going to go onto.
They just go on YouTube and then they switch it.
Yeah. So, and it is hugely addictive. And then you see it also with having children and going out into restaurants, kids sitting with a phone or something to the restaurant so the adults can talk. And so there's a huge social element.
Remember when you used to have a piece of paper with a colouring to do?
Yeah, yeah.
Do they still have them?
I don't think so. I don't think I've seen that in restaurants or, and we were driving the other day and talking about, good old games of I Spy and that.
I Spy, yeah.
Now you've got a full-on movie theatre in the back of the car.
Red car or something like that, or whatever it was.
So along those lines of slowing down, I finally got my butts into gear and used a voucher. I think it was might have been birthday, Christmas voucher, I don't know. But the motivation was suddenly realising how that's going to expire was and I'm going to get a little plug to Float.
Yeah.
In Norwich. So I went that on Monday and came out and reminded myself why I love that. It
was the Float, not the cryo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And although I'm intrigued with the cryotherapy, so I was talking about that. But I had the Float, and also it was perfect. We had our annual conference last weekend down in Birmingham, so it was great to catch up with some colleagues, do a lot of learning, but a lot of social bit of a later night. And so I booked it in purpose for the Monday coming back in the late afternoon, early evening. And on one hand, I thought, isn't it strange that we either have to, a bit like going to the gym in days gone by, and now we spend money to go to a warehouse to exercise. We've got to bring that back into our lives. Here we are spending money to bring back rest and relaxation back into our lives. But what I love about Float, and it ticks so many boxes from the neurological side of chiropractic and meditation and the nervous system, was that because you are floating and you're in a
sensory deprivation chamber, right?
Exactly. So you have less nerve stimulation. I'm trying to say from visual stimulation, sound. You're in a soundproof little pod, and you have the lights are totally black. So I ended up meditating even with my eyes open and closed, didn't make a difference. So although it's like people say, oh, well, it sounds nice and relaxing and you can go and have, and you have an hour out to yourself. I said, well, it's not like lying at home and saying, I'll just relax for an hour, read a book, because you still got stimulation. You still got the sound and this and tracking the time. You lie there and you're like, I've got nothing to orientate myself other than if I move. I've got no sound, and has it been 10 minutes or 20 minutes, half an hour? I don't know. And the science behind it, then you drop into like meditation, into theta and delta waves in the brain. It's like meditation, like you've just been off sleep.
Yep.
I can't lie. I think every now and again I go,
yeah.
But
so is your head floating in it? Because when I've been in them before, it's been complete floating, like not the actual pods. I've been in a full tank.
Yeah, so I've done a like almost like the Greek baths. I've done the pods and the tanks. What's a nice addition there is that they've also got a little bit of the pillow, like you have you in the airplane. So you do, because when I did it once, it felt like I've got to work to stop my head dropping too far back. the chiropractic side of me coming out. But they've got like a little pillow there now, so you are really quite cushy, and it's warm. It's just a nice feeling. I've got a patient who said that it reminds them of what it must be like to be in the womb. So because you are just in a really
just before
nice,
the
safe,
most stressful period of our whole entire lives.
just building up. But a major difference afterwards, and so I've committed certainly to doing that on a more regular basis.
I emailed them before a subscription, actually,
because it ticks boxes for me. Some people don't like it; they might think, "Oh, you're a bit claustrophobic," or they don't like the pitch black. And I'm like, I love the pitch black. It's just really cool.
When I sleep, I have a mantra eye mask, which has actually got pads around the eyes and then the eye mask around it, and I use that on the plane, and that is really powerful. Okay, on the plane you don't get the sensory deprivation of kids screaming everywhere. But I mean, you can use like noise cancelling headphones, but then you've got the electromagnetic field straight into your ears. But like that's something which really helps me. If I do things, I've done a lot of NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, or yoga nidra, and there's scripts on YouTube if people want to check it out. There's someone called Ali Boothroyd, which I use her scripts. And she's got like 10, 15, 20, 25 minute, it's basically meditations.
Yeah.
Where you're laying down and you're just doing nothing. And then basically you have to focus on your right chest, your right shoulder, your right elbow.
Yeah.
And like, you don't touch them. You just focus
body
on
scanning.
Yeah. And so it's being really aware of it. But like I've had times like on my Garmin, like the body battery and on my Aura, like the actual like recovery has gone up because it seems like I've been in a sleep.
Yeah.
It's
well,
powerful.
they reckon that I remember being told, but I haven't looked at the research on them, but that an hour in flotation and then deep rest is like 3 hours good quality sleep.
Yeah.
It's very restorative. But it also just reminds me of you know, we need to put things in place like that, and it's not even a case of it's okay, it's important too. But I had one or two patients, so we put it on our Facebook, and then I had 1 or 2 patients inquire, and they looked really good. But on the other flip side, I had one. So she's in her probably late 20s, and she turned to me and she says, "I don't think I could do that." I said, "Oh, is it like because of the pod? Some people feel." She says, "No, I don't think I could just lie there for an hour. I'd get restless." And I was like, that's why we need to be doing this.
It's like when people say I haven't got time to meditate for 10 minutes, do 20.
She couldn't actually resonate that was a possibility to actually, and it wasn't a guilt thing. It was just literally being able to lie there and do nothing else.
How stimulated we are.
I said, exactly. And how wound we are that we almost can't relate to what that was like. So a big plug to Float. I know they'd also do cryotherapy. They've got a red sauna there now, so they've expanded, but from more than just taking time out and relaxing.
Cryotherapy is good as well. I've had that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that I'm intrigued with that.
Inquired about them. They can do custom subscriptions now, so I'm going to do 2 floats, 2 cryos a month, and hopefully get them both after each other.
Yeah, you can do packages. I was looking through there.
So that's something which I want to be doing.
They've got subscriptions and the Float Club and all sorts. So,
and if someone also you don't use one, you can give that to one of your friends to try, as long as you use it on your calendar month. Yeah. So it's definitely something.
So I'd really recommend.
And we're not sponsored by them either.
No, I have no association with them at all. But just from my experience, and for other people, it doesn't mean have to be Float. It can be, some people will get that by doing other things.
I think even just going for a walk without your phone, or if you're worried about safety, just have your phone in your pocket, not in your hand, and on do not disturb mode, no headphones in.
No, don't listen to music. Listen, take awareness of nature and everything around.
They've changed like the rules, the laws of the road, right? So the pedestrians have the right of way at junctions. And one of the reasons is because people are so tuned in to the earphones that they forget to look at the road. So when you if there's a side road and you turn off, the pedestrian has right of way.
Yeah, in South Africa, it's always been that way.
Really?
Yeah.
Even before the iPods.
Yeah.
We just didn't have any.
When I did my driving test and exam, that was it. So when it came out here, I was like, that it does not be that. No, that's normal for us.
Surely, you should look and be like, well, this is actually.
Well,
you
should look, but we've got more pedestrians. You've got more chance of knocking people over, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose.
So taking time out, I think it's really, and it's not just taking time out. So some other patients have then gone, well, I'll take it out. If I want to relax and I'll just watch a movie or watch a TV, and I was like, no, you got to think of it from us. Think of it your nervous system. Think that still stimulates you. Reading a book to some degree, particularly if it's a paper book, is a bit different. But on one hand, yes, guilt-free, take time out, plan it, put it in. It's as vital as doing. But also that element of sometimes actually doing nothing.
I think even how we
really
wake up
important
as well is something we should touch on. Like how people, if their phone is 3 feet away or 2 feet away on their bedside cabinet and their alarm goes off, they pick it up and then scroll through Facebook or Instagram. And before you know it, like they're waking reactively and then they go and have their coffee.
Yeah.
So, and again, like if you're sleeping through the night with no issues, able to get like 7-8 hours sleep, maybe we don't have to look at coffee and these sorts of things. But if you have problems with energy dips, brain fog, problems with sleep, problems with concentration, and you're waking up, the first thing you do is have a coffee. The first thing you do is
especially
scroll through your phone.
You're tired and wired.
Yeah, it's powerful, and I think it's definitely something that I know I can actually improve on my disconnection from technology.
Yeah.
My business is built on social media.
Exactly, and the message isn't not being anti-technology. It's been using technology correctly, ready when you need it, and then when you know that it's detrimental.
One of my friends has actually started a course. I don't know if it's live at the moment. I think it's firemyphone.com. It's like a 30-day challenge to actually get rid of the connectivity with your phone. Not to completely, we need phones nowadays, right? We need this connectivity. When I was in London the other day, or a few weeks back, the M&S terminals stopped accepting the actual contactless. And the amount of people that were just leaving their shopping there and walking away because there was an error.
They got no other option.
And they've got no other option because they don't carry cash and they haven't got cards because everything's on their phone. Yeah. So we're wired into this place that everything is needed to be on there. But we need to disconnect at times.
We run occasionally campaigns here, and one of them is to disconnect to reconnect. So our challenge is that when you're in the office with us,
switching the phone
and you not use your phone. And it's amazing how many people just automatically, they'll walk in, they'll sit down, phone will come out.
There's less signal out here as well, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm connected to the Wi-Fi when I get here. But like beforehand, I end up like, I can't check my phone anyway. So I've got out of the habit of doing it.
One of the things I like is that my phone is in the office whilst I'm with patients. So I get, and then sometimes if I'm busy, I will sometimes not even check it at lunchtime. So if you ever need to message me, you are like the old school, leaving an answer phone message, and at some point I'll pick it up because I don't have my phone on top of me.
Yeah.
Whereas my kids have grown up with that expectation. They message and they're waiting for the answer. It's instant. But that's not only technology, and we have that in other aspects of our lives, our expectations. And I think a lot of things.
Amazon delivery expectations, food
everything
delivery,
is fast tracked and this, and we want it now. And I think we are being programmed to keep that up because it's highly productive for many reasons. But we're losing that ability to disconnect, and how important that is. Where I think past generations did that.
I think we should go into a bit more depth of like how to stop. Well, we want to fast track health. We want to, but how to not fall into the pitfall of trying to fast track your health so that you see no results.
Yeah.
Actually, like the sustainable results. I work with people for 6 or 12 months and we see results that way. This isn't like a 30, 60-day transformation. And I think it's just much more sustainable that way, right?
So you're not keen on that 2 weeks eating a certain brand of cereal to drop so many sizes to go away on holiday.
I might try it.
Right, guys. So what do you do to chill out? What's your life balance with productivity and then disconnecting so you can be highly productive? The message isn't about not being productive. It's actually being highly productive by also having time out so that you can rest and recharge. Be interesting to know your take, and what other things have you tried? Float? Do you hate it? What else do you use? Let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we'll take some of the subjects from today, anything of feedback from you guys, and then we're committed to getting the podcast going again, and we've had a bit of a well-earned break, but it's keen to push on with that. So let us know, and we look forward to catching up with you next time.
Take care.
See you then.